This is the Holy Mountain Podcast, where we discuss what it means to find rest, regain perspective, and reconnect with the world around us. All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Shane Oehler with me again, my wife, Rebekah.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Today, I told you today was a basic Monday for me. Pretty chill. Nothing going on. It was nice. So
Our kids have been in funny moods, though.
Yeah.
Recently. So that is always
entertaining.
Yeah.
No chill days. Yeah.
Good way to put it. Today, though, we're going to talk about commitment and just the importance of commitment. It's something that as an organization, like we're prioritizing, like putting a lot of value into. And so we just want to talk about why that is today and kind of, again, why we see it as important, why we value it, and why we want like the people associated with Holy Mountain to embody commitment. I think, like, first off, I would say that commitment to me communicates like personal value. And again, with us working with people and particularly with younger people, I think a lack of commitment quickly gets interpreted as like a lack of care.
Yeah.
Or a lack of investment. And so that's where I think from that, just like right off the bat, very simplistic sense, that's why I want Holy Mountain to be embodying commitment, like both to the people that we're going to be like working with and that are a part of our community, but also just to the greater community as a whole as well. Like, I don't want us to be kind of like a flaky organization or like flaky people.
Yeah.
In general.
And I think in terms of like Holy Mountain, it exists because there's a need that's not being met in our culture. And it exists because we're trying to be like set apart, be different from the current culture. And I do think that is a characteristic that is lacking in today's culture. And so it is something super important that we want to cultivate ourselves within our own family, within our own community, but then something that we can hopefully encourage everybody else in our community to do as well, because there's a huge need for it. And I do think it is severely lacking in our everyday lives and just the modern culture that we live in right now.
Yeah.
So,
is there a reason why you think that is the case? Why our modern culture is lacking commitment?
I feel like it's our culture is we've seen it be this way for a while, but it just continues to get down this hole of like self-serving life. Like, you exist to serve yourself, which is a very like broad thing to say, but you could like go into so many details of different like topics or avenues in someone's life, like relationships, what their, hobbies, what they're doing with their time, like priorities, all that stuff. But I do think it's a culture of self-serving, and I feel like commitment is optional. So it's like I commit to it as long as it serves me, and then I'm out, which isn't really even commitment in the first place if you're not like seeing something through. And even in my own life, like I see how growing up, I may not have always cultivated a lifestyle of commitment within my own life. And looking back now, I see how that like really damaged some like amazing opportunities that I could have had or relationships that I could have kept because of a lack of commitment on my end. Not realizing like, commitment isn't optional, like in a sense.
Well, I think
it can look different.
Genuine relationships and stuff, right? Like, I think like you are saying and what you've experienced is that commitment is optional if you never want to actually be planted somewhere.
Yeah.
Or if you never want like something meaningful to kind of stick. If you do, then like you have to be committed.
Yeah.
right? I think that as I think about that question as well, like why is our culture lacking commitment?
Mm-hmm.
I think to probably go along the lines of what you were saying with the culture being really self-serving, I think there's also this risk of if you're committing to something, you're also accountable to it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to be accountable to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's probably like a big reason as well that at least I see is, well, if I commit to this thing, then someone has expectations for me. So then if I show up or don't show up, now I have to be accountable to that. Or
Yeah.
if I do my job, don't do my job, now I have to be accountable. If I stick with my marriage or if I don't, like now there's consequences and repercussions. Like if I'm committed to like whatever you can fill in the blank.
Yeah.
But I think in my experience and from kind of how I've seen people operate, they skirt around the risk of accountability because it could taint like their own image, could be like a reflection of themselves that they are trying to safeguard and trying to protect. And so they just don't commit then. They don't put themselves out there. They don't risk anything.
Okay, so then going off of that, what would you say is like the core to someone's lack of commitment? Like either they just like don't commit in general, or there's someone who like has committed but chooses to like back out. What's the core? Like what you said, like one thing that stands out is I think someone who lacks commitment is someone who lacks self-awareness.
Sometimes. Or like sometimes it is an intentional choice, but it's actually similar to that conversation we had recently. Like to me, it's a move of self-preservation where like I am protecting myself by not committing to anything else. And like by always giving myself the out, then I'm actually just maintaining my own image and my own perspective that I'm trying to like project to other people. And so I do think a lot of it boils down to like a fear of harm, like a fear of vulnerability, fear of hurt. Like I think some people like have experienced hurt.
Yeah.
And so they're not committed, right? Like simple relational example. Like if we're dating, we're committed to each other, and then you break up with me and that like breaks my heart, then yeah.
Which it obviously would.
Obviously, yeah. Then I'm going to have that like fear of commitment because I'm going to have the fear of getting hurt again. And so I think some people have experienced that like in a lot of ways. And so they, again, are safeguarding themselves by never fully committing to something. Like I think we do see that in like church bodies as well, right? Like one of our past episodes, we talked about like is the outdoors is my church, like that kind of thing. And like we are the church, like the body of Christ, but still looking at like those local gatherings of believers, like a Sunday service.
Like the local community.
Yeah. People have experienced like church hurt when they have tried to like get involved or tried to commit to a community. And
because it makes them vulnerable.
Yeah. And so then like when that happens and they experience the hurt, they will oftentimes like be very hesitant to commit again and to like become a member of a church or like whatever it might be, because again, there's risk of vulnerability again if they're to put themselves in that position. Like some people, like again, the dating situation, they like write off dating for the rest of their life because they never want to be vulnerable again. They never want to be hurt again. So in my mind, that's the big fear of commitment. And I think people might like make different excuses for it, but I think ultimately it's like actually a fear of getting hurt or, I mean, I think if somebody is like that self-absorbed, it's just like a fear of being tied down at all. They don't want to be committed to anything because they don't want to have any responsibility. Again, they don't want to have any accountability. They just want to be free flowing. Like go where the wind goes, you know?
Okay. So then giving some examples of what you think someone, like some qualities, if someone lacks commitment or the ability to, some of the qualities that you think might tie into like underneath the surface of like, what is it? Why are they lacking in commitment? Or why is it difficult for them to commit? What would you define as commitment? Like, what does that look like for you? And what do you see? Like, what's your breakdown of what it means to commit in different aspects. So like relationally,
Yeah.
like
I mean, I think
other
like,
categories into that.
obviously marriage, right? That's something that we take seriously. That
Yeah.
is a vow that we will always have, like, for each other as long as we live.
Yep.
And so that means like good or bad. Like that's not something I just walk away from. And like no matter what happens within our marriage,
Mm-hmm.
like that commitment stays. So it's like there is like a faithfulness and like a consistency
Mm-hmm.
in how you show up. I think yeah, again, just kind of like using like the church example. Like that means like good or bad in a church, like you're riding the waves and like you're loyal to this community of believers.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know. To me, like it is one of those like it's super simple in my brain.
Of course, in his brain,
Yeah.
it's super simple.
I know it's not that way for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
yeah, to me it's just like a decision to continue despite the circumstances. Like our relationship doesn't hinge on emotions. It doesn't hinge on like
Or
feelings.
our commitment is not like dictated by circumstance or by feelings or by, and that's
Right.
like what you're saying is like, for example, using like the church context, like my commitment to church isn't dictated on how I'm feeling or how things are going or
Mhm.
what issues I might have. But it's like, well, this is still my church. So like, what is that?
Right. Yeah, because again, like biblical perspective, right? Like we're called to be the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not dependent on if your best friend is there or if someone hurts your feelings.
Yeah.
Like the whole point is that like all these different people are united under Christ, where it doesn't make sense that they would actually all be coming together and be united under anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it can only be explained through Christ. To me, I'm reading in like inherent dysfunction. And
yeah, I was
like,
about to say common sense tells
implied,
us
like
the grass is never greener.
disagreements.
Yeah.
Yeah, like things like that where like if it wouldn't make sense for these people to be coming together,
Mm-hmm.
then that obviously means it's not always like sunshine and roses. And so
Yeah.
to me, like the commitment again is going in with that expectation. So like from Holy Mountain's perspective too, like the people that we are going to be like working with, the people that are in our community, again, it's that life alongside, good or
Mhm.
bad. Like horrible life circumstances, we're there. The best of life circumstances, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if like say it's a kid I'm mentoring and he treats me horribly, guess what? Like I'm gonna be there the next time he shows up too.
Yeah.
And like that's not gonna change. And I think that's some of what, you know, I've been able to live out in different jobs as well. And kind of like model that for
Mhm.
different people. But ultimately, like it again is Jesus's framework.
Yeah.
Where like while we were still sinners, he died for us.
Yeah.
That didn't mean we were like cleaned, righteous, totally good to go before God.
Yeah.
Like no, we were actively in opposition, and yet he died for us. And so there's that component where I mean that's like as committed as you can get, right?
Yeah.
That like it doesn't matter what you're going to do to me, say to me, treat like how you're going to treat me. Like I'm here.
Yeah. And I think within that too, like there is the awareness that like intentionally committing to something where I feel like just speaking for us and what we've like lived through individually and together of like when we commit to something, it's an intentional decision to be like, I'm signing myself up for this despite what life happens to me, what life does to this commitment that I, or whatever, if it's a person or a community or like whatever it is. And so I feel like for us, we haven't really been like nothing surprises us because we've always gone in with the mindset of like good or bad. We can't write what the good will be and we can't predict what the bad will be, but we just know like that exists because we live in a sinful world and we can't have like high expectations like that.
Right.
But I do think the aspect of showing commitment to others from us as like a biblical representation of God and Jesus, I think there is an aspect where we also have to have the awareness that like we are still human. And so like we're not capable to fully commit to everything all the time and like be Jesus in every situation in every season. And so I think there's like the awareness too, like sometimes I can only commit to one thing and then sometimes I can commit to three. And like having, a little bit of like this awareness and balance. But
Totally.
yeah.
Like, I think that's appropriate, right? Like saying that we want to be people that are committed and like that Holy Mountain is going to be an organization that is defined as being committed doesn't mean that we're going to be committed to everything, but it's like the things that we are saying yes to, we're committing to fully.
Yeah.
And
having the awareness to do it because we're able to do it fully and give 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that saying again, if you never say no, what is your yes worth? Like, we will be people that say no to things because we know when we do say yes, we mean it. And when we give you our yes, like we are fully committing to that. And so that carries a lot of weight with it. But I think that's where you get in this balance of, like we were kind of talking about how like the culture as a whole, I think shies away from commitment. I'd probably say like undercommits. But then I do think there are people out there that overcommit.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And like are saying yes to so many things that now their yes doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Where like they're like, hey, yeah, I would love to be a part of this. Yeah, let's hang out. I would love to invest in this relationship or like this friendship. Or like, I don't know, whatever it might be.
I would pause on that because I was just like thinking, I also think like people who undercommit, I've rarely seen them know how to fully commit to anything. And people who overcommit, I've never seen them successfully like say no to things. And I think that's the thing. It's like, I think both extremes like don't even have the tools they need to actually like get out of that extreme unless it's like some tangible like practice of like, oh, I'm stuck in this. Like, this is what commitment is like, I chose to, doing this for the first time. I don't know. Like, what's your take on that? Because I feel like from my life experience, I'm thinking of like scenarios where that would have been at play, either one of those extremes. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if this situation ever actually got resolved or if they got out, whatever the situation was, got out of that under commitment, over commitment. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think I can look at myself and recognize that I am probably somebody who would tend to overcommit rather than undercommit. And I think there is an aspect where it is, I said like the undercommitting is like self-preservation, like some of that kind of like protection. I think overcommitting is still some of that image maintenance where I want to be seen as a dependable and reliable person. So when somebody asks me something, I want them to know like Shane can deliver. And like if you have something you need, Shane's your guy, But that's where, again, that quote of if you never say no, what is your yes worth really like sticks with me because, again, I want people to know if you ask Shane and he says yes, then he really means it. Not just like if you ask him at all, then count on him. But like, hey, when Shane gives you a yes, he means it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it to a high level,
Yeah.
And so I think that's where, in my own experience, I can recognize where I've overcommitted and that has impacted, I think, like my life in other realms because I'm pushing myself beyond to make sure that I can like actually still deliver. So then to look at that and answer the question of how do you get out of potentially either one of those situations? Is that what you're asking? The undercommitting, overcommitting? I think if you're undercommitting, how do you get out of that is you recognize that you will never fully be able to protect yourself from harm. And we are called to be in relationship and in community. And that does come with risk. And that's just the reality of life. But I think some of it is doing like enough self-work to recognize like you will be okay. And just to kind of acknowledge like what are the pieces like you need to work on and be secure enough to
Mhm.
kind of like work through and be confident enough in your own identity and like how you have been gifted and equipped
Mhm.
to then like move forward to then begin to say yes to things. But I think also like if you're under committing, like take an honest and tactful look at what are things I can say yes to
Mhm.
that still maintain like a good level for our lives. Um, I think if you're on the reverse and you're overcommitting, I would take an honest look at why are you saying yes to everything? Is it like an image maintenance thing? Like, are you just trying to project like a certain version or kind of like image of yourself that you want other people to see? But then maybe start recognizing that you saying yes to everything is hindering the very image that you're trying to project out. Like the example that I gave. Like if
Mhm.
I'm overcommitting because I want to be reliable and dependable, but I start dropping the ball,
Yeah.
then I'm actually harming my image by saying yes to all
Well,
of those
actually,
things.
I would say not dropping the ball is always how it looks. I do think majority of what I have like witnessed it be is people operating at like 50% or less than 100.
Mhm.
And personally, feel like I can always tell when someone's not at 100, and it's like obviously there's grace for like one-offs cuz like life happens. Sometimes it's like, you know, a rough go or a rough week or
Yeah.
whatever. But I do think I've seen a lot of times where people are operating under 100. And I think, well, if you are not giving this your best, like I would say you're not committed.
Mhm. 'Cause and I think especially when you're dealing with people, they'll feel that, right? Like if I'm
Yeah.
so overcommitted where I'm like, we have 5 minutes for this conversation and then I have to cut you
Yeah.
off,
Oh, yeah.
move on to the next. So then I'm actually not even fully present. I'm not
It's not
showing you
investing.
within value. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like zero investment.
Yeah.
I think again, I would look at your commitments and say which of these are like double star have to do
Mhm.
and which things can you start saying like, hey, sorry, I overcommitted.
Yeah.
I actually won't be able to give this my full attention.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to have to set this aside
Yeah.
or have to, yeah, say thanks for the opportunity, but no thanks,
Yeah.
those types of things. But I do think if you're overcommitting, you need to take an honest look at your to dos, prioritize them, and prioritize potentially the people on them
Yeah.
and have like that come to Jesus moment where you're recognizing like I can't be all things for all people. I
Yeah.
can't do this for everybody and I'm going to have to start saying no to things.
Okay, so to someone who overcommits and someone who undercommits, I think this could be like helpful for both. What like how does one know what they if they're an undercommitter, what they should even be committing to? Like what do they need to be doing? What do they need to be investing in? And then to someone who overcommits, what do they need to look at to be like, okay, this is what I need to be focused and giving my all to. And I have too many eggs like in my basket. I need to get rid of some eggs. How do you choose which eggs to get rid of and which ones to keep?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be super situational. I don't know if I can give like a blanket answer. Potentially like from my own life, like I could look at the kind of seasons of life that I've had where like when I was single, if I had a ton of work demands, that was fine because I was single. Like my
Mhm.
family life had zero demands.
Yeah.
You know, uh, maybe my social demands were higher because of friends, but like again, that was fine because like work demands were there or weren't there. Family
Mhm.
life wasn't there at the time. I think those might. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should have like categorized this better, but I would almost look at it that way to where like what is your work demanding of you? What is your family life demanding of you? Then maybe like social slash hobby outlets, like those
Mhm.
types of things. Because I know like for us, season of life, young kids, family life is a big demand.
Mhm.
And so if I am overcommitting to things that are pulling me away from my family,
That are making you undercommit to your family.
yeah,
Yeah.
then to me, like that's a problem.
Yeah.
But in a different season of life, that's going to be different. So like
Yeah.
that kind of gets to this point that, I've heard talked about before where everybody talks about like seeking balance in their life. And like for a while, like the guys in my table group, everybody's prayer request was like balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this on a podcast and I shared it with them. And it's been something again that like I've hung on to.
Mm-hmm.
But this person essentially said like they've stopped trying to seek balance and now they're looking for harmony. Because if you think of harmony in like a band context,
Mm-hmm.
different instruments are playing at different volumes at different times, but it's all blending into a harmony that is like really pleasing to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's a good experience, you know. If every instrument played to the exact same level and was balanced, it actually wouldn't sound good.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's recognizing that, again, for me, family life, like that demand is high. And so that means I'm going to be committing to my family. I might be committing to less things as far as work goes,
Mm-hmm.
or as far as like social life and like hobbies go. Like those meters might be down while my family meter is up. But as our kids get older, like maybe that meter comes down, maybe some of these other meters can go up.
So it's like commitment to all of the same things, like work, family, hobbies, friendships. So we'll say throw it in there, like serving ministry, you know, like working with student or like being a youth leader, community. Yeah. Like all of those things you can be committed to all of those things at any given time in your life, but different seasons call for different like levels of investment at that time.
Yeah. Like I have a small group leader, single guy. He worked part-time for the airport, so he could hop on any flight for free.
Mm-hmm.
He literally went to a student's event on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Could a married leader with young kids do that?
No.
Like, absolutely not. Right? Like,
I'd love to.
I would tell them like they're crazy for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But this one leader, I'm like, dude, that's sweet. Like that's incredible that you can do that. But again, it's because his life is different than other people. So like the harmony that he is experiencing in life is going to look different than say 5 years down the road. If he was to get married and have a kid, like his life would look different.
And the idea is if we have more people committed to things and like working together, like a community, like our church community, but the church in general, then the idea is like when that like is down for someone else is like able to show up more. And there should be, I don't want to say balance, there should be harmony.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you should be able to look at it that way, where kind of like season of life. Again, it would make sense for retired people to be highly involved in things, for single people to be highly involved in things, for married couples that are now empty nesters or whatever to be highly involved in things. But for newly married couples, they're probably going to be less involved in certain things because
of that season of life.
That season of life, they're in high demand in some areas. And so it's not like an across the board, like blanket statement. If you aren't doing 3 things, then you're under committing. And if you're doing 6, you're over committing.
Yeah.
But it's just that honest assessment of like, what are you actually giving the commitments that you're committing to? And an honest look at
how are you able to show up?
In some ways, are you being selfish with your time, and are you not committing to anything?
Yeah,
you could be.
Because then I think like people who say they have like those commitments of like, okay, I'm like assessing how I am with my family, how I'm showing up at work, how I'm showing up at like youth group as a youth leader. I'm just using that because that's just a relevant option. But then it's like, okay, I'm having a moment where my family life is like, we're going through it. It's a difficult season. So I'm really tuned in and like have to give that more attention and prioritize that. So then me showing up like as a youth leader at work is like a little different. Like I'm not as like gung ho or signing myself up because I know I have this area of my life that's really like all consuming me. And I'm really focused on figuring that out in this season of life. I think like it is healthy to like have that again, like leading with humility of just because I'm going through something and I maybe am not going to show up the same because I just don't have the same energy right now in this season of life as I maybe did prior to this. Like when I show up to youth group, I might have a different energy that I'm bringing. But I think like having the humility to also think like it's not a show. Like this is real life. I want to be genuine, and like what better to like lead and connect with people than being genuine and not, we all show up differently at different seasons, and that is normal. And I think there's always like accountability and support in that. But I think that's just like being real and honest. But I think for someone who commits to things to like, again, put an image out there, it is absolutely exhausting. And then, it just does lack like genuine, like it just seems disingenuous. And then it's like, is this a commitment or is this an obligation? And I think those two can get blurred also, of you do have a choice to be here. And so you're choosing to commit to something. If you are not in this 100% and you're showing up out of like, I have to be there and I'm trying to like maintain this thing, I think it's then an obligation. And I personally don't love obligations.
Mm-hmm.
I have beef
I think
with
like
obligations.
We've talked about it, like this podcast is like a good example for us and some of these steps with Holy Mountain where like our share, shepherd, shoulder values, like we have talked about, that starts with us, that starts in our home before it can ever go outside. And so we recognize again, like that comes with like seasons as well, where there's times where like our family has higher demands in different areas where like maybe we would love to do a podcast every week, but that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's harder for me than it is for you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
because I don't like obligations and I can easily be like,
right. But to me, it's like, well, this is something we committed to. Yeah. But I think I have to look at the big picture. Like Holy Mountain is what we're committing to. I'm not committing to being a podcaster once a month.
Right.
But I am committing to Holy Mountain, to this organization, and to like growing this community and also helping like shepherd and shoulder this community as well.
Yeah.
But that comes with the seasons and with my own humility to recognize, hey, there's times where I do have to slow down the outward focus and reset and like have that reconnect with my family, make sure like my kids are at a spot that they need to be at before, again, I'm looking outward. Otherwise I'm a hypocrite, right? And like the things that I'm trying to like teach and talk about, I'm not even living out in my own home.
It's being forced, but it's not actually being like cultivated.
Totally. And so, yeah, like that's something that we've talked about before, but like where we will have seasons of infrequency because like
that is life.
We're real people. Yeah. Like real life is happening. And we recognize that we have to kind of like circle the wagon sometimes and like regroup as a family before we're always like pouring out to our like greater community. So.
Yeah. No, I feel that also. I feel like we're even in a season now, I think that's part of like podcast being like not so consistent or irregular is because we are in a season of life where family demands are at a high and we're prioritizing that as we should and as we know we should. And yeah.
That's what we're committing to. Like again, like we are committing to like our marriage, our relationship.
Yeah.
I would say second behind our individual relationships with God. Like that's always going to be the driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's God, our marriage, our kids, then, outside community from that. And so, yeah, there's going to be seasons where like the harmony for us looks different too. And so,
but the healthy part is for us to keep with our current commitments, even though we might have to find that harmony and recognize what that looks like entering this season of life for us and how that will change as we continue to grow. But then also recognizing that we don't want to become undercommitters and get to a point where we are just like, we're just not tapping into or investing anything into our current commitments. Like we don't want to fall off the wagon either with any of that stuff. So just a lot of awareness check-ins on our part. I mean, it's work. Like it ain't easy
Right.
to be, like lofty goals.
Yep.
Humans with flaws.
Things that are worth it in life aren't easy.
Yeah. What would you say more to like undercommitters?
I mean, yeah, I think in some ways that gets hard for me because I'm not that.
Because you can't relate.
Yeah, like there is an aspect.
No notes.
Where I can't relate, but I think it is the reality that avoidance never actually gets you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the work I did, particularly like in the mental health field, like behavioral health programs, a lot of the students that I worked with there were there because they were unable to avoid what had happened. Or they were, yeah, in some ways like trying to avoid and unable to just deal with what had happened to them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the work we were doing was like helping them confront the hardships
Mm-hmm.
that they had experienced that were hard, that were horrible, that
Mm-hmm.
were traumatic. Like we can recognize those things,
Mm-hmm.
but avoidance doesn't actually solve anything. And so like if you're an undercommitter because you're avoiding potential harm, that's actually not the solve.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be like living a life in fear then.
Yeah.
Because harm and danger could be around every corner.
Yeah.
And so again, to me, like that would be kind of my like charge and my encouragement is like you have to face reality at some point. You have to confront the hardships that have happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to grow individually to the point where you have a high enough capacity and tolerance for the difficult things.
Yeah. I feel like for me personally, I've probably had more tendencies to be leaning more towards an undercommitter than you. But I feel like in seasons where I'm, something's really like all consuming or overwhelming me, like it can a lot of times be my family just because of the demanding ages of our children.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can at times be like a big focus or a big like energy, like, yeah, just overwhelming all that stuff.
Yeah, taxing.
But within that, I also have had to learn to not drop the ball on those other commitments in my life, like friendships or like girls that I'm like mentoring or have relationship with, or our church community, or, just people around me, wherever like God has placed me in. And I have some sort of commitment level, or I have had that. I think it's really easy to like say, well, my family's God wants me to prioritize my family and my marriage. But he doesn't call you to do that at the expense of like your other commitments necessarily, of like, oh, I'm going to absolutely like neglect these girls that I've built a mentoring relationship with, or I'm going to absolutely neglect all of my friends because I'm all consumed by my family. Like, yes, I think that is a priority, but I think I'm also hurting people, or I'm breaking off relationship with other people that God doesn't call for that. Like it's a beautiful thing. And it's like intentional that I have these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're supposed to be in relationship with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sometimes, and some people can go the other way where they're, all consumed by their friendships and they're starting to neglect these other areas
right.
that they've been committed to, but now it's like not serving them, or they're not at a great space. And so I just don't think it's ever appropriate, unless there's like, detailed like actual toxic issues happening. I don't think it's ever appropriate to just cut off or just like hard stop something. Yeah, because I think it just isn't showing like respect to a relationship that has been built, whether that's with your either end. I don't know. Everybody's got like different priorities or different seasons of life where they're like heavily leaning to one or the other, or other things are like more consuming than others.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's something I've done before, and I now see how that like, oh, I could have a heck of a lot more relationships now in my life that started when I was young that I don't have because I did not find the harmony. And I just
or you didn't like actually commit, right?
I didn't commit. There was no follow through,
like
or
fair weather fan and a fair weather friend. Like once it got rocky at all. You're like, oh, I'm off.
Or for me, it was a lot of times like I was more consumed by something else. And so there was neglect. And then that just completely was like, well, now that doesn't exist anymore because it was neglected for too long. And now I don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's something like I know we talked about when we first, got together, started dating, is I have those like childhood, lifelong friends that have always been with me
Mhm.
that like I recognized, like these are the people who actually know me, who love me, who care about me, who are committed to me. And I'm like very committed to them because we have each lived through
yeah.
like seasons of life with each other where like I probably wasn't the best friend. They probably weren't the best friend. And yet,
But you guys never like,
we
it
stayed
was never
friends.
like losing touch,
Right.
Yeah.
Because we
Even
were,
if it was like
actually
years. Yeah.
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 Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So I think that would be encouragement for the day. Maybe assess your commitments. Are you undercommitting, overcommitting?
Do you have harmony?
Do you have harmony? Yeah. Like, are you in a season where things need to shift? I don't think it's not a bad thing to recognize that.
Or just
you need to step away from certain things.
Aware of what things are like the higher end, what things are at the lower end, and seeing if you're like anticipating that switching up or if that's what it is for right now. So, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us what you think. But again, as a whole, this matters to us for Holy Mountain. Like we want to be an organization that's committed. It was funny, even at the Centennial Farm Shoot that I was at with Rhett and Parker. I was talking to some of the people that were putting it on and just saying how, like, in the future, like we'd love to even be grunt labor, like help setting targets up, like set the course up. And they look at me like, oh, seriously? I was like, yeah, like that's some of what, like I'd be willing to offer. They said we have a lot of people that offer and hardly anybody actually shows up. And the guy was saying that he used to delay setting up the course because of people that said that they were going to be there and help. And then it would turn into a last minute thing because everyone would flake. No one would actually show up. And it would just be on this one guy to set up a 40 target course.
That's literally awful.
Yeah. And so again, like that's a way, like tangible need in our community, even within the archery community, that Holy Mountain can come alongside and like shoulder some of that burden and live out like some of our values and live out like some of these other characteristics that we're striving for and say like, hey, no, we're actually committed to this. And we told you, yes, we're going to do it. We're going to be there and we're going to like help shoulder this burden because we recognize like it is a burden and that's what it actually looks like to live in community and be a part of community. So I'm excited for like those things to kind of like start happening.
Yeah.
And I think like for the reputation to actually start growing of like, oh, those guys at Holy Mountain, like when they say yes, like they mean it.
Because we also are going to be intentional about saying yes to things we know we can follow through with.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We won't be like every week we'll find a new person to go set up because every week we might not be able to, but we will find. Yeah.
Again, right now we know season of life, this isn't our full-time gig. And so even the Holy Mountain meter like is a meter as well. And like hopefully in the future, again, like this becomes work. Yeah. Like this is what it is full time.
The hope is for the meter to go up.
Yeah. But like our scope could look a whole lot different, right? The things that we can commit to would look a whole lot different. But right now, I think we're starting to try to say yes to more things and like start like ticking things up. And I think that's going to continuously grow. But it's also again, like a season of life thing and a organizational season. So that's that for today. Commitment. But
you got it or not.
Yeah. As always, we encourage you guys to check out our website, officialholymountain.com. You can find us on social media as well, Official Holy Mountain. We got a big merch sale happening right now. Almost all of our merch is discounted 50%-ish, I would say for the majority, but some of it isn't discounted. Those are typically things like we know we're keeping around and like our solid products, solid designs that are going to be there. But our hope is to clean out a little bit of the inventory so that we can start dropping some new merch collections. Because also, if you guys don't know, we literally have all of our merch inventory in our garage. So we're not some like drop ship, merch company. We literally have the physical inventory like in totes and boxes in our garage. I'm the one that's fulfilling orders and shipping them out. And so we're like small businessy in that way. It is not just like a print on demand type of thing where some third party's dealing with all of it. Like it's literally me. So we are legitimately hoping to clear out some of this space in our garage so that we can start introducing some of these new merch collections that we're excited to start dropping. So again, I'd encourage you guys to go to the site. All of that money just comes right back into the organization. And then donations also are going to be the lifeblood of the organization. So we'd encourage you guys to consider how you might be able to come alongside us from that perspective and support us through donations, whether that's
commit to donating.
Yeah, commit to donating. Whether that's are you under committing to donating?
This sounds so tacky.
No. But yeah, whether that's just like a one-time donation or like monthly recurring donations, like all of that helps us a ton. And again, helps get us to the point that we're hoping to be someday of being full-time with Holy Mountain. So I'd encourage you guys to check that out. But we're thankful for you guys to tune in and kind of catch us. I was going to say every week, but we just said it's not every week. So catch us whenever we do.
Catch us every podcast.
Yeah. I think with that being said, we know we're not going to release one next week. Just again, like a lot of logistics happening. But then after that, I have some guests in the hopper that I'm super excited about that are, been trying to coordinate with them for a long time.
Yeah.
So trying to catch them before hunting season because it is right around the corner. So excited to do some podcasts.
Maybe some
coming weeks.
YouTube video from your hunt? Maybe,
yeah. I think Chad got his shoulder surgery redone, so he's planning on playing cameraman part of it. So we'll see.
So
we'll
fancy.
See if that was an overcommitment. Yep. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.